Hello. Let's talk Santana Ortiz. I was just sitting here thinking about so much potential those two had to be some great tag team champions in AEW, and all of that just fizzled. So I wanted to figure out what happened. Now, Santana actually sat down with Chris Van Fleet 4 months ago, and he gave his side of the story. But before we get to his side of things, I just, floated around the internet and was looking for as much information as possible as to why things just fell apart. So, in this article by Wrestling Inc., the title says former AEW star Mike Santana opens up about the fallout with former partner Ortiz. This is from March. And according to this article, Mike Santana and Ortiz were one of the first tag teams to join AEW in 2019, making an impact on the premiere episode of AEW Dynamite by joining up with Chris Jericho, Jake Hager, Sammy Guevara to form the Inner Circle. Despite their promise as a team, Santana Ortiz never captured AEW Tag Team Championships, with the two breaking up in 2022 amid rumors of discontent. Santana recently left AEW and appearing on, again, the Chris Van Fleet show, he opened up about his split with Ortiz. And I quote, "We were together for 10 years. I think," Santana said, "we were together with someone that long. It's like a married couple, right? There's good, there's bad. I think we just grew apart, and over time, and also our visions for the tag team and its future and its success weren't on the same page when it came to a lot of things." Santana then stated that everybody has their own way of handling their careers, and he and Ortiz stopped seeing eye to eye on the matter. Without giving any labels to his former partner, the former LAX wrestler referred to himself as a go-getter who was willing to fight for the position he believes and deserves. Santana didn't feel that Ortiz saw things the same way. So, if we could deduce from that statement, Santana had ambition and Ortiz was the complacent one. Was Ortiz the guy who was just happy to be there, getting a check, and Santana was trying to get some gold and build a legacy and get a check? I don't know. According to the former AEW performer, Santana desired to expand into more singles matches and also cause friction between the two. However, he doesn't think that there's any animosity remaining between himself and his former tag team partner following their AEW Rampage match last year. "I told him after the match, yo, I hope the best for you. I hope you do well and there's no hard feelings. I hold no hate, no grudge, nothing." This is what Santana said. Well, I'm sitting here like, well, where's Ortiz? And, well, what we have here? Apparently, he's been out of action since January after suffering a torn pectoral muscle. 8 months later, Ortiz provided an update on his health status. This is as of August 7th, 2024, guys. Ortiz chatted with Renee Panek for a quick interview session. He is at the finish line of recovery. Ortiz doesn't have a date yet to be medically cleared, but he hopes it's sooner than later. In the time away, Ortiz found his obsession for professional wrestling again. His only purpose is to become undeniable. Ortiz won't accept being forgotten. That mindset has motivated him to work the hardest he has in life.
And that we have not seen in some time. It is so good to see you. Your hair looks voluminous and full.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
Great, all things considered.
Yeah.
Being out in injury has given me a different perspective on wrestling and in life.
Okay.
Cup half full. I think I'm obsessed with wrestling again.
Oh my God, that's the best thing to hear. I feel like sometimes you hear people get like a little burnt out, or we're going nonstop. I love that you've had time to fall back in love with pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Was there one thing that really kind of ignited that fire again?
It was just my own mental battles that I was going through, and it just coming to a spot where I was just like, okay, I'm done feeling sorry for myself. I'm gonna control what I can control, and I was just, now my only purpose is to become undeniable. Like I just won't accept defeat. I won't accept being forgotten about, and I've just started working the hardest I've ever worked in my life.
I can see it. You look
Thank you.
incredible. You look so good. We've not seen you since the end of January. You were out with a torn pec.
Yes.
What is the status of the pec now? How's your body feeling?
We're right there.
Yay.
The finish line is right there. Hopefully sooner than later, but right there. I'm right at the finish line. I feel great. I'm not going to throw any more clotheslines.
Who needs them? Lariat? Who?
No.
It just is great to be around you right now. I feel like there is a undeniable sort of aura happening around you. I can tell that you feel good mentally and physically right
Definitely.
now.
Yeah.
Give me a little bit of that.
I wish I could. Just serve it up in a cup.
Yeah.
But yeah, the perspective has changed. Other than my son and my wife, there's nothing I love more in this world other than professional wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I'm just back, and I can't wait to get out there and just do what I do.
Hell yeah. Well, spread that wealth around. It is so great to see you. You look incredible. Can't wait to see you back in that ring.
Thank you so much.
He does look good. He looks like he's been exercising. He looks big. He got a fantastic afro. And it's such a coincidence that I'm doing this, and I happen to get an update because I was thinking, like, where are these guys at? Fascinating stuff, huh? Never can find anything on Ortiz's perspective when it comes to the breakup of Proud and Powerful. So, according to this article by WrestleTalk, speaking to Shining Wizard Wrestling Podcast, Ortiz revealed that it wasn't AEW's call to break up the team and that Santana was adamant about not working with him. So, he said, Ortiz, and I quote, "Unfortunately, it wasn't the company call to split us up. Me and Santana just couldn't get it together personally. He was just very adamant about not working with me anymore. So the company kind of had no choice but to split us up, right? So, like, okay, you're just not going to tag. It doesn't make any sense. Let's at least make this make sense why you split." He said, "But even when I did it on TV, it just ended up, I feel like, being kind of rushed. And you know what I mean? Let's get to the point already due to stuff that was going on backstage. And it was just making it hard to really put forward a program. And then just our television in general kind of has this feeling all over the place and all over the shows. There's almost a sense of rushing at times. Some stuff kind of sits and settles. You could kind of see why they're putting their effort into it. The stuff that really gets time to settle and really cook. Whereas some other segments, due to constraints, you just kind of have to make those segments go faster and faster. And there was supposed to be more development between me and him." Ortiz goes on to say, and I quote, "It just, again, things out of my control. I was never panned out. It never panned out the way it was. It was set out to be a couple of weeks of programming throughout our television, like Collision, Dynamite, and Rampage. And then we just kind of went to Rampage and we stood there and just kind of played out how it played out, unfortunately." Okay. So with that being said, I do see Ortiz out there wrestling on the independent circuit. Not Ortiz, I'm sorry. Santana wrestling on the independent circuit. Ortiz, you just got an update on him, which is like super crazy. That fell right into this podcast. I enjoy Proud and Powerful. I seen them through House of Glory. That's how I got introduced to them on YouTube, because I'm no longer living in New York, right? And I think one person had more, I guess, ambition than the other, which can be frustrating. And then it may also just simply be lack of booking, which can be frustrating as well. Both of them said that the feud that they were having, which would have probably been a great pay-per-view match, was thrown on one show. And I think that also caused frustration within the group, because they were told one thing and another thing happened. Not to mention, Santana said that his dad had passed away. He went away to go take care of that, came back, and everything was like all weird and stuff. And I think that I could attribute that to the backstage and not so much as Ortiz, because I wouldn't think that your partner would be like, "Yo man, you back now, let's get busy." I think out of sight, out of mind, and they were like written out of whatever plans AEW had, and that also added to the frustration both of them were already feeling, like they were stagnant. So Santana says that he was scouted by WWE pretty heavy. They were telling him what he was going to do, which was he was going to start at NXT and then go through the motions there and learn how things run with WWE, and then they would put him on the show. Why that didn't come to fruition, what stopped him was the schedule. Santana said him and Ortiz was like, if we get called up, we're never going to see our kids. Listen, the schedule is grueling. Most of the ladies, if you got the money, like Jade Cargill or what's her name, Becky Lynch. I know Candice LeRae takes her kid with her. Ronda Rousey was doing it. If you got the money to do that, get you a bus and able to, because they pay for all their stuff they pay for by themselves. You could do that. But if you're a low-level mid-card wrestler, I'm pretty sure you're just like, I'm not going to see my kids. And most men leave the kids with the wife and go on the road and do their thing. And they don't see their kids. And that is a strain on the family that they were not willing to take, and I respect that. There's a story he tells about Cody helping him get through the grief of losing his dad. And he cried with him. And I believe it. 100%. We all know Cody will burst into tears at a drop of a dime. So I could see him saying, come on in here, man. I know what it feels like. Let's go ahead and get this out. Cry. Have some drinks and chill. And you don't got to worry about it. And I think that really moved Santana and put him in a high place of regard with Cody Rhodes. I thought that was just interesting. Especially, you know, I lost my dad. And with time, you know, it does slow up the grieving process, but there's no healing. It's just an open gaping wound that, you know, you wipe to make sure it doesn't get infected and doesn't drip and all of that. But it's always an open gash that you will live with for the rest of your life. That's the only way I could describe losing a loved one, especially basically like that's an appendage. That's really literally half of you is gone. It's really it's cool to hear that Cody was there for Santana at that particular time. It's real cool. So to wrap this up, Santana Ortiz was a moment in time where Puerto Ricans was on display, proud and powerful. They just walked it like they talked it. I actually think Santana and Ortiz would have done fantastically in WWE. They would have had a place with Delgado, Phantasma, NWO. They probably would have ended up in the Judgment Day. They would have been definitely feuding with the Mysterios. Like, completely versatile. I'm being sarcastic. But I wish both of them the best. I'm watching out to see what both of them do. And who knows, maybe one day they'll get together and like let's run this back one time. That would be cool. So that's the update on Santana and Ortiz and the sad case of their implosion. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments. Later.